Hello and welcome. I am Pranay Upadhyay and you're watching India Today Global. We are starting this bulletin with the West Asia tensions. The much anticipated talks between United States and Iran concluded in Oman's capital Muscat, with Oman playing as a key mediator's role. Iranian Foreign Minister Syed Abbas Araqchi called the meeting a good start, adding that both the sides have agreed to continue the talks. Mahashweta Lala with this report.
Amid fears of a war-like situation building up in West Asia between the United States and Iran, the much-anticipated meeting between top aides of both nations kick-started in Oman's capital, Muscat. The meeting happens at a time when US President Donald Trump days ago warned that the theocratic regime in Iran should be worried, and Khamenei warned that a war with US will turn into a regional war.
Can you tell us a little bit about the agenda for tomorrow's talks with the Iranians? What will be the focus of the discussions?
Diplomacy moving forward. The president has obviously been quite clear in his demands of the Iranian regime. Zero nuclear capability is something he's been very explicit about, and he wants to see if a deal can be struck. And while these negotiations are taking place, I would remind the Iranian regime that the president has many options at his disposal, aside from diplomacy, as the commander-in-chief of the most powerful military in the history of the world.
The meeting is also the first following the 12-day war between Iran and Israel alongside the US. It is also the first after the deadly protests that broke out in Iran due to poor economy. Meanwhile, Iranian Foreign Ministry said armed forces will enter their highest level of alert for days as both parties meet in Muscat. Iran maintains the talks between Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araqchi and US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner will only be about nuclear program and nothing else. But on the contrary, US said discussions need to include range of their ballistic missiles, sponsorship of terrorist organizations across the region, and treatment of Iranians in the country. China and Russia, both close allies of Iran, have urged for dialogue to bring peace in the region.
China has maintained communication with all parties on relevant issues and hopes that all parties will resolve differences through dialogue to jointly safeguard regional peace and stability. We welcome the negotiations that have now begun in Oman, and we hope that these negotiations will be productive and that they will allow to de-escalate tensions in the region.
Ahead of the direct talks, Oman mediated indirect talks between Iran and the United States separately over Tehran's nuclear program. Oman's foreign minister separately met the top aides who landed in the capital. Oman's foreign minister has reiterated commitment to continue supporting dialogue between the parties and to working with various partners to reach consensual political solutions that align with the desired goals and aspirations. Iranian foreign minister said the country will defend itself against excessive demands or adventurism by the United States and will take an approach of using diplomacy to secure Iran's national interest, while maintaining full readiness to defend the country's sovereignty and national security against any excessive demands or adventurism. Oman has previously mediated between Iran and the US in nuclear negotiations in 2025. But the negotiation failed after Israel launched a 12-day bombing on Iran. After the meeting, Iran said it was a good start and both sides agreed to continue the talks. Washington has been demanding that Iran should give up its persuasion of nuclear program, but Tehran says its nuclear program is meant for civilian purpose and for the interest of the Iranians. Trump's constant threats of beautiful armada being sent towards Iran and dispatch of USS Abraham Lincoln has intensified tensions between the US and Iran, with major global players urging for peace and dialogue. Mahashweta Lala, Bureau Report, India Today.
And earlier, I spoke to Iranian ambassador to India, Dr. Mohammad Fatali, as Iran top officials and diplomatic delegation met President Donald Trump's top aides in Muscat. Listen into that conversation.
By Iran's ambassador in India. Sir, my first question to you. What are the red lines laid down by Iran for these negotiations, because there are a lot of demands have been raised by the United States in terms of the Iranian missiles, their limits, etc. With what mindset Iran has approached these negotiations, and what are your red lines?
You know that we emphasize an announcement. This negotiation only focus on the nuclear issues. And we are waiting for the result. You know that now this is the second round of the negotiation. Inshallah, God willing, today we should see the result, and after that we decide.
So how are you dealing with the situation in Iran? There are many reports, and if you can confirm the number of 3,173 people have died in these protests.
Yeah, you know that unfortunately we have a peaceful protests, but some agents from foreign countries turn this peaceful protest to or violence, and unfortunately armed violences. And now the situation is
But
not.
also, you have raised very serious allegations on countries, and you have named the countries and their agencies. What evidences Iran has shared with the international community as far as these individuals?
In this case, we are arrange some according to international law, some relevant the institution in Iran wants to follow these cases seriously.
And from Iran, let's move on to Pakistan. A deadly suicide blast inside a Shia mosque in Islamabad has killed 31 people and left over 150 people injured. Even as fresh violence erupts in insurgency hit Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, hospitals in and around Islamabad are on alert, security forces are deployed, and troubling questions are mounting over Pakistan's worsening security crisis and leadership control. And now I'm being joined by a senior Pakistani journalist Hamza Amir over phone line from Islamabad. Hamza, my first question to you, what can you tell us about the death toll, the latest figure about that, and as per the Pakistani establishment, Pakistan government's assessment, who carried out these attacks, who is behind these, this attack of Islamabad today?
Well, Pranay, as per the latest, the casualty stands at 31. People have died and around 171 people are injured and are in critical condition in different hospitals in the capital, Islamabad. As far as the attacker is concerned, identity of the attacker has been identified. He is not an Afghan national, but he is a resident of Peshawar. He's 32 years old, and some forensics have been done, and now even the state minister has confirmed it that the suicide bomber was hailed from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's provincial capital, Peshawar. But he was moving back and forth to Afghanistan. In the past 2 years, he had made several visits to Afghanistan. And by saying so, Pakistan government basically is again implying that the linkage of this attack also goes back to where Pakistan has always been eyeing on, that is Afghanistan and cross-border terrorism. So this is how it stands at the moment. As we go on, the point to ponder right now is that has been discussed is who may be behind, which group may be behind this attack, because in the modus operandi, as it seems, that it may be the Islamic State, it may be Jamaat al-Ihrar, it may be an affiliate group of the Tehreek-e-Taliban in Pakistan, because it's not only a mosque, it was a Shiite mosque that was targeted, and people were targeted during Friday prayers. So that is something that is going to be part of the investigation. But
absolutely, Hamza, this raises a serious question and a larger question, that if people are not safe, secure, even in a mosque, in an Islamic country, and more so, correct me if I'm wrong, but this place, this Imam Bargah, was not very far from the Chaklala base of Pakistan military. So clearly this incident, this suicide bombing happened very close to a military establishment in the heart of Islamabad. This raises a serious question about the security, security arrangement and security situation in Pakistan.
With respect, Pranay, I would like to make a few corrections here. One, this place is the same as Tarlai, And this is the suburb area of Islamabad. It's not in the heart of the capital. It's about around 15 to 20 kilometers outside in the suburb areas of Islamabad. And also, it is pretty far from the Rawalpindi General Headquarters as well. So, but this area was sensitive only for the fact that because being in the suburb areas, the people in the area were, they were in majority they were Shiites. It's a congested area. It's like a small vicinity, but a very widespread vicinity, and that is around the suburban areas of Islamabad. But I finally mentioned that in this area as well and around the area like Banigala and Barakahu area, there have been intelligence-based operations in the past, and many militants have been nabbed in these areas. So these areas have been sensitive, including overall groups like the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan. All of these groups have a very strong hold in these areas because they are congested. They're not easy to tap. And even this Imam Barga that was targeted, again, the area was very highly densely populated with Shiites who used to come in big numbers in this Imam Barga. That is why
absolutely, Hamza, and this raises a serious question about the past of sectarian violence in Pakistan, and we have seen in the past as well that how the Shia mosque or the Ahmadiyya mosque have been targeted in Pakistan. But thank you very much for all these inputs, Hamza. Thank you very much. And moving on, let's talk about US as well, because President Donald Trump has unveiled TrumpRx.gov, a new website which is meant to offer consumer access to discounted prescription medicines and central pillar of his efforts to lower down the drug prices in United States. Trump announced that the new website at a White House event, 16 of the largest global drug makers have struck most favored nation deals with the Trump administration to cut drug prices for Americans in exchange of exemptions from US tariffs. And under these agreements, they will lower the prices for the government Medicaid program and also via TrumpRx to cash-paying consumers only. So those deals include agreements with Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk to slash the prices of popular GLP-1 weight loss drugs. The government has said that these would reduce the prices between $149 to $350 a month on an average for Americans. The website will be powered by prescription drug saving site GoodRx. The report suggests that TrumpRx will not sell drugs directly, but rather send patients to the other sites to buy their medicines.
This is a very big deal. People are going to save a lot of money and be healthy. So we're here this evening to celebrate the launch of one of the most transformative healthcare initiatives of all time. There's never been anything like it. Starting tonight, dozens of the most commonly used prescription drugs will be available at dramatic discounts for all consumers throughout a new website. It's called TrumpRx.gov. That's TrumpRx.gov.
A day after US-Russia New Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, or START treaty, expired, White House has said that the US President Donald Trump wants experts to work on a modernized version of New START nuclear weapons treaty. Trump and Putin have been talking about this issue, but both the countries have failed to find a middle ground on it. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt has said that there is no temporary agreement to maintain the terms for the pact, and Trump earlier has rejected an offer from the Russian president on this thing to have a negotiation and a voluntary effort to extend the caps on strategic nuclear weapon deployment after the treaty that held them in check for more than 2 decades has expired. Meanwhile, Russia has said that they would prefer to have a dialogue with the United States after the expiry of New START nuclear arms control treaty, but they are also ready for any scenario. Meanwhile, the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has said that the Moscow would see how ready Washington was to talk about the strategic nuclear security. New START was the last arms control treaty between the world's 2 largest nuclear weapon power states. Meanwhile, a statement released by the US European Command has said that the United States and Russia have agreed to re-establish high-level military-to-military dialogue in Abu Dhabi. The dialogue channel was suspended in the fall of 2021 prior to the outbreak of Russia-Ukraine conflict.
Trump wants to find a better agreement. Even if we could have legally extended the treaty, it would not have been beneficial for the United States or the world to do so. New START was signed in 2010, and its limits on warheads and launchers are no longer relevant in 2026, when one nuclear power is expanding its arsenal at a scale and pace not seen in over half a century, and another continues to maintain and develop a vast range of nuclear systems unconstrained by New START's terms. Almost all of U.S. deployed nuclear forces were subject to New START, while only a fraction of Russia's much larger stockpile was. I should add that exactly 0 Chinese nuclear weapons were covered by New START. And as we sit here today, China's entire nuclear arsenal has no limits, no transparency, no declarations, and no controls.
Знаете, вчера истек договор о стратегических наступательных вооружениях.
As you know, yesterday the New START treaty expired, so there's vacuum now. Our position, which was presented by a ministry, was described in detail. And we will proceed from the fact that Russia is ready for any further developments. For sure, we prefer to have a dialogue, and we will await information on the US readiness to do the same.
Будут готовы к этому же.
And moving on, let's talk about an issue which is rocking the domestic politics of the United States. As more files stumbles out of the Epstein closet, netizens wonder whether the convicted sex offender may have faked his death. Because the images circulated on social media platforms earlier called Twitter shows an alleged tattoo on Epstein's left upper arm. Social media have compared the pictures with the tattoo on his bicep with the official photograph taken after his death in August 2019, in which no tattoo was visible. According to the preview experts from 2017 Justice Department deposition involving Epstein, a snippet from the PDF shows a question referencing the tattoo on your left arm of a barbed wire, to which Epstein has replied that in an affirmation, and he said that yes, the barbed wire tattoo is there on his left upper arm. No verified evidence from the DOJ, the Department of Justice files, support the claims that Epstein is alive or that the body recovered in 2019 was not his. Thomas Masai, the Republican lawmaker who was vocal and sought the release of Epstein files and shared images of Epstein with the tattoo. Epstein was found dead in his Manhattan jail cell in August 10, 2019, and authorities have ruled that the death is a suicide by hanging. And now let's see what else is making headlines across the globe in World at a Glance.
A senior Russian officer, Lieutenant General Vladimir Alexeyev, was rushed to hospital after being shot in Moscow. Alexeyev is deputy chief of the main directorate of the General Staff at the Defense Ministry. Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov accused Ukraine of being behind the assassination attempt. 2 weeks after residents of the Nigerian villages of Woro and Nuku ignored a letter from extremists announcing their intention to preach, the armed gunmen arrived on motorbikes and embarked on a 10-hour frenzy of killing. The attackers went from door to door, shooting and setting homes and shops ablaze in the mostly Muslim villages. The extremists rounded up villagers, tied their arms behind their backs, lined them up and shot them in the head. Authorities say they slaughtered at least 162 people, and villagers say they kidnapped many others. An airstrike hit a building in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza in the early hours, dealing a fresh blow to the nearly 4-month-old ceasefire in the Palestinian enclave. Residents walked amid building rubble using torchlight in the pitch darkness that followed the blast. Israel's military announced on Telegram that it had carried out a precise strike on Gaza in response to shots fired at its soldiers near the Yellow Line in northern Gaza. Yemenis in Sana'a rallied to show solidarity with Palestinian people. It was the first such protest in over a month. Thousands of protesters chanted against Israel and the United States and carried banners featuring the Quran and images of Houthi leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi.
And that's all we have for you today. But before we leave you with visuals of American ice dancer Madison Chalk and Ivan Bates, who delivered a commanding start for champions the United States in the figure skating team event at the Milano Cortina Olympics. Skating with the precision and polish that made them 3 times world champion, the duo scored 19.06 points with their program. Their performance pushed France down to second on the leaderboard, scoring 89.98 for their skates. To Madonna Vogue, the Olympics are only their 5th major international competition after teaming up last March. Britain are third with a score of 86.85 points.